What's going on, guys? It's your boy Worthy Prince coming at ya with another Lord's mobile video, and today guys we're going to be doing some more familiar testing. Now last time we did go ahead and do the Tempersite and the Maggot. This time round we're going to be doing a stacking familiar versus the Gryphon familiar. This was a really popular one in the comments last time, so we're going to go ahead and do that one today. And yes, my leader has been captured. She's poisoned. She comes back in 6 days. There we go. It happens. But you know what? I'll show you the video of that in a couple of days or something. Anyway, let's get into this familiar testing. So we're going to be basically putting up one of the stackers versus the Gryphon, okay? Now the person that's doing the attacking has got maxed on both of those to make it a fair test, of course. Now on the stacking ones, we got Trickster for the range, Goblin for the cav, and Gemming Gremlin for the infantry, okay? And as you can see, there you go. Now with these stacking ones, they add 100% when 10% of your troops have fallen, okay? And then once that 10% of troops have gone, it recalculates what would be another 10%, and then it adds another 100% when those die too. But the thing with this is it's going to stack, so potentially by the end of the battle, you're going to have upwards of nearly 900% added attack to your lower amount of troops, which is pretty insane stuff. For this test today, we're going to use the Goblin, okay? And of course, Booby Prize is the equivalent of that, but it's the cavalry. And then the familiar is going to go up against the Gryphon, okay? This is the newer skill that IGG brought out. And it's not going to be a level 9 skill that we go up against, it's actually going to be a level 10. This is just my Gryphon, which is super close to actually getting to maximum, so I can level this skill up. I've got the stones, I just need like 700 more EXP, so I should get it later on today, to be fair. And the good thing about Tailwind is it's pretty similar in the sense that it increases attack. So it increases army attack by 200% for 10 seconds when 10% of your troops have fallen. But is this 200% boost going to give you a better result than the stacking familiars? I mean, it's an interesting question. I mean, to be honest, I put both of these familiars in my march. But just like for like, I'm curious to see which one's going to outperform the other. Well, you want to find out, guys? Let's get it. Alrighty then guys, let's get this test underway. Okay, so we got 2 camps that need to go out first of all. Now, to start with, I'm going to go for the single troop type test, okay? Just like I did before, and then we'll do a mixed troop type test after. So right now, I'm putting 2 camps out with 30,000 cavalry in each camp. Alright, now I need to make sure that when he attacks, you know, the familiars are going to proc. So they're going to need to take some damage. I'm also going to go into a cavalry phalanx. He is also going to go into a cavalry phalanx as well. And he's going to send 5,000 tier 2 cavalry at each camp. The first attack is going to include the stacking familiar, and the second one is going to include the Gryphon, okay? Now, I've done it this way because 5,000 versus 30,000, I'm pretty sure that his familiars will proc off there. If anything, they might not even walk back. But that's actually a good thing, believe it or not. Even if these camps eat the marches, that's absolutely fine. I just want to see, under pressure, outnumbered, you know, troops on troops, which familiar is actually going to make you lose less and which ones are going to actually do the most damage. So let's jump forward now to when Hunter, and thank you so much Hunter for helping me out with this from BRR. Here comes the first march. Now this one's going to include the Goblin, the stacking familiar. There we go, it hits and it gets eaten. Okay, great, that's good. It means that the stacking would have gone off loads on that attack, so that's going to give us a real good comparison. We're going to go ahead now with the second one. Let's go ahead and bring that camp back in. There we go. And we just need to wait for Hunter to go ahead and send that second march, and then we can take a look at the battles themselves and also check out the reports and see which done better. And here comes the next march. Here we go. So Hunter going in, and there we go. He hits. Would be interesting if the Gryphon walked back, wouldn't it? Let's have a look at it. And no, it gets eaten too. Okay, let's jump into the report on that, what we just saw. Here's the first march. Now this is going to be the Goblin. This is the stacking familiar. As you can see, the march was eaten. And just to show that it's 100%, it's maxed. And it done 272 troops wounded. Okay, that's fine. Let's go up and have a look at the battle, because I want to see how many times this familiar procced during this battle and how fast it went off, okay? So here we go. They hit, and as soon as they hit, you can see the familiar is activated almost instantly, okay? Because it's outnumbered. The troops are going to die a lot quicker. There we go. Another proc, that's 200%. Another one straight away, 300%. Okay. And another one, 400% now. Wow. So as you can see, because we have very few amount of troops, 10% isn't really that much. So because of that, it's going off again and again and again, very, very fast. Okay, and that's why it's good for attacking, because when you attack a rally trap or something big, your troops are going to die quick. Therefore, the stacking familiar is going to stack up nice and fast during the battle and potentially let you do more damage. And as you can see, we done 272 on that hit. Alright, cool. Now let's have a look at the Gryphon hit and see how that done. And we done 228. Wow, okay, so less. There's the 200% just to show it's maxed. We actually done less damage with the Gryphon. Okay. Interesting stuff. Okay, let's go and have a look at the battle again and just see how that played out, because I want to see when it procs and everything. So here we go. Troops going in. I expect it to proc pretty quickly. It's 10% just like the Goblin. Yeah, look, straight away. Boom. There goes the 200%. But the problem with the Gryphon is it's on a time limit. Look, you can see it going down. And it's going great at this point, but then it runs out and the attack drops back down, and that is why you just don't do as much damage on the attack with this particular familiar compared to the other one, because the other one is maintaining that attack bonus and it's increasing as the battle goes on, and that allowed the stacking familiar to do a lot more damage. Really interesting stuff. Okay, great. Let's have a look at these reports side by side, and there you go. Look, 272 damage from the stacker and then 228 from the Gryphon. Of course, both marches were decimated, but yeah, it just goes to show if you've actually got potentially only one room on your familiar slots for one, potentially the stacker could be the best one to go for. But what if we went up against more troops? Okay, so what about if we put out, say, 30,000, but this time we're going to go ahead and do it mixed. Now, just to let you guys know, these tests are repeated. Okay, it wasn't just done the once. We do it a few times to make sure we get the same result, and of course we did. So here we go. So there we go, 30,000 troops going out, mixed march, all tier 2. Let's put them out. So there's the first camp. Let's go ahead and put the second camp out. And we're using T2s, of course, because the cost is a lot lower to replace and heal, that kind of stuff, rather than using tier 4s. And here we go. So there's another 30,000 mixed march, no heroes, exactly the same test, but this time it's going to be mixed. And then what we're going to do now is he's going to actually send more troops. So he's going to send 15,000 troops. So the odds aren't as against him as they were a minute ago. But I still think his familiars are going to proc. Okay, but maybe not as much on the stacker, and that is another reason why I've done it this way, to see if this gives the Gryphon the edge, maybe, if the stacker can't proc as many times. Alright, so here we go. Hunter goes in, he walks away from that first camp. Okay, that was the Goblin hit. Let's return back to the castle, and here comes the second hit with the Gryphon. Okay, here he goes, and there it is, it hits. I'm sure that's going to walk away as well. Here we go, let's have a look. And yes, it does. Okay, great. Let's jump into the battle reports once again, guys. So we're going straight into the stacking familiar here. This is the Goblin hit. As you can see, 3,376 losses. We done 4,832 damage. Okay. Right, okay, that's not too bad. Just to show you again, of course, look, Goblin, 100%, same familiar, all looking good. Alright, cool. And this is the breakdown of how the damage was dealt. You can see, of course, we're both in cavalry phalanx, so the damage was done on my cavalry front line. Alright, cool. So just over 4,000 damage, 4,300 odd. Let's have a look at the battle. I'm interested to see how many procs it gets and how quick. Now, you'll notice, look, it doesn't proc straight away. It's taking a lot longer for that familiar to proc. So much longer. And this is why I tell you guys that these stacking familiars are not good for defense if you're actually going to be having a lot of that particular type of troop in your castle. If you've got like 5 million tier 2 cav, plus a load of tier 4 for your rally trap or something, it just ain't going to go off. The only time they're good is if you expect to lose a lot of that troop type. For example, a rain rally trap. You know, if you're going to lose a good amount of your tier 4 range in that rally, or even if they're wounded, it might be worth having that stacking familiar because it probably will proc off a few times. But not good for a general mixed tier 4, tier 2 rally trap, you know, because it just won't go off. It did go off 5 times. The last one wasn't as effective because it was right at the end of the battle. So pretty much 4 good procs during that fight. And that's what we got, 4,832 damage. Alright, cool. Let's take a look at the Gryphon. And here we go. The Gryphon hit 3,952. And we lost more. Wow. Okay, so we lost a little bit more, like 30 more troops. But we done almost 1,000 less damage. That's quite significant, even on a small number of troops, because if you multiply that into massive rally numbers, that's a massive difference. Okay, let's just check this battle out and see how it played out. Here goes the cavalry. Gryphon enabled. Here we go. How long is it going to take for this Gryphon? Look at this. Still no Gryphon. They're taking massive damage. No Gryphon. Where are you? It's going to come any moment, surely. There it comes. Right, Gryphon in. Cool, skill activated. Now, that 200% boost is on, but again, as with the single troop type test, it's on a time limit. It only lasts for 10 seconds and it's already gone. And now that attack has dropped, so you're doing way less damage to the enemy squads, okay? Their squad numbers are maintained, so they can do more damage to you, and you're not killing as many as them, and that really does explain the difference between these two familiars and the reports we're seeing. We're losing more troops, and we're not killing him nowhere near as many as them. So what have we learned from this? I think, you know, if you've only got one slot available to choose, I think the idea you should go with is go for the stacking familiar, because you can see clearly here it is a more powerful familiar to use on single troop type and multiple troop type attacks. But of course, if you add them together, then wham bam thank you ma'am, it's going to be awesome, of course. But I think if you've got like 1 or 2 slots open, I think you should definitely be going for the stacking familiar for your attacking, because clearly it outperforms the Gryphon side by side, like for like. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments what familiars you want compared next. And until the next time, guys, you know how this next bit goes, right? Stay safe, everybody. And of course, get your milk and cookies. And peace out.